To be a watchman, you must be sober, alert, on guard, and on your post. This is part 3 of the Sober series, where we have been looking at what it means to be spiritually sober and why we need to be sober. And if you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, I would encourage you to go back and watch those. And if you haven't followed us on YouTube, I would really encourage you to go and subscribe for more Christ-centered content. Now let's get into part 3. And as a reminder, to be sober means to be clear-headed, not intoxicated, and to be of sound mind and alert. Likewise, this goes for spiritual soberness. The Bible tells us that we must be sober because the times we are living are evil. We must be sober for prayer, that we might offer up prayers that are clear-headed and timely. We must be sober to take action. We must be sober to fulfill our ministry and our purpose. We must be sober to be watchful. Last week, we read in 1 Peter 5:8-9 that we must be sober and watchful because the devil prowls around seeking whom he may devour. Likewise, we must be sober to be a watchman. A watchman is someone who has the job of being on the lookout against bad, evil, or forces that seek to bring harm, danger, or loss to what we are protecting. So let's look at what it means to be God's watchman, to be chosen by God, to watch out for his people and his property. Ezekiel was a prophet chosen by God to be a watchman and to warn the people of Israel. Ezekiel 3:17-19 says, "Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel. Therefore, hear a word from my mouth and give them warning from me. When I say to the wicked, you shall surely die, and you give him no warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at your hand. Yet, if you warn the wicked, and he does not turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your soul." Ezekiel 31:1-6 says, "Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people and say to them, when I bring the sword upon a land, and the people of the land take a man for their territory and make him their watchman, when he sees the sword coming upon the land, if he blows the trumpet and warns the people, then whoever hears the sound of the trumpet and does not take warning, if the sword comes and takes him away, his blood shall be on his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet, but did not take warning. His blood shall be upon himself, but he who takes warning will save his life. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, and the people are not warned, and the sword comes and takes any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at the watchman's hand." And then we find in Isaiah 62:6 it says, "I have set a watchman on your walls, O Jerusalem. They shall never hold their peace day or night. You who make mention of the Lord, do not keep silent." So some of the key words that we saw in those scriptures were sees. So a watchman is a seer. He or she is able to see naturally and spiritually impending danger coming, and a watchman cannot be distracted. He must be at full attention at all times. Sword. A watchman sees a sword coming and is keenly aware of dangers surrounding the people of God. The other word that we saw was trumpet. A watchman is able to make a sound that alarms and alerts the people of God. This can be through prophetic words, through prayer, and through warning. Our next word was warns. A watchman is someone who warns and prepares the people of God for battle. And lastly, we saw saves his life. A watchman is a protector and a preserver of life when he sounds the alarm and prepares the people of God for battle. A watchman does not hold his peace. They speak, they sound the alarm, they pray, and this is something that can cause them to be on guard at all times, day and night. So sometimes you may be pulled from your rest to pray and to warn. This is showing the constant around-the-clock nature of being a watchman. A watchman is responsible. He or she has not only themselves to look after, but after the people of God. They have the job to warn a nation. A watchman is a bodyguard to guard the body of Christ through preparation and warnings for the enemy's schemes and plans. A watchman is a communicator. You can't be shy and be a watchman. You must say what needs to be said when God tells you in the authority that He has released to you to say it. A watchman is always perceptive, always watching motives and seeing what most people can't see. A watchman always takes higher ground. So while most people will see the surface level things, the watchman takes higher ground so that he can see what others can't see from a ground level perspective. So to be a watchman, you have to come up out of the weeds to get a better, higher position. And you got to deal with the higher things of God. So you have to come up higher so that you can see what is not evident on the surface. To be a watchman, you have to train yourself not to let the lower level things of life distract you from seeing far and wide what is going on. So to be a watchman, your timing has to be on target. You cannot procrastinate as a warner to the people. You have to sound the alarm as soon as you see danger ahead and to prepare people for what's ahead and what's coming. And lastly, a watchman is a prophet of God to speak what God warns and to say what God is saying. To be a watchman, you must be sober, clear-headed, not distracted. So in this message of encouragement, I really am encouraging myself as I encourage you not to let the distractions of life and the world keep you from being spiritually sober, clear-minded, clear-headed, with eyes to see and with ears to hear. This is to encourage you and to encourage me to come up higher, to find higher ground, to open our spiritual eyes, open our spiritual ears, to hear the warning of the Spirit of God so that we might be on guard as well as warn others to be on guard and to warn against the snares that the enemy will try to set. So I pray that this message, these last 3 messages about spiritual soberness has really awakened your mind and awakened your heart to clear out the distractions, to focus on God, and to get sober to be able to hear from God so that we also might be a watchman on the wall to see impending danger that may be coming, not only to us, but to the body of Christ at large. This is a call to prayer. This is a call to action. And that action is prayer. That action is fasting. That action is listening, hearing, and waiting on the Lord. So I pray that you would be encouraged. I pray that you would be uplifted. And I pray that the Lord will find you in your word, in prayer, and on guard, ready to be His watchman. God bless you.